Good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of Sitting with the Spitfires. I'm Bob Duff, the sports columnist at the Windsor Star. Today we're joined by Windsor Spitfires forward Mads Eller and Spitfires coach Rocky Thompson. You've had a little bit of time now in Windsor. Mads, tell me about the experience and how you found it here so far.
Liked it from day one. Obviously, was a little bit different coming in here, coming with the injury. But it gave me some time to really interact with the guys and really get a good transition into knowing all my teammates and knowing lots of our systems and stuff. Talking with Rocky, so more smooth transition than just coming straight in and playing right away.
Is that a more difficult challenge to join a team in the midst of a season than say at the start of a season?
Yeah, I would say it. You can always look at it like that, but it's been a good it's been a smooth transition for me. I would say all the guys have welcomed me very well, and coaching staff too. So for me, it hasn't been as hard as it could have been.
Rocky, what did you see in Mads that made you guys want to bring him in, and what's he done for you since his arrival?
Well, first of all, he won a Memorial Cup, which is very important. He did it with the Edmonton Oil Kings 2 seasons ago. He's a player that's well-rounded. He's got a great work ethic, and I worked for the gentleman, Bob Green, who brought him into the Edmonton Oil Kings, and so when Mads was a potential possibility, he fit in perfect. We knew that we needed a high-energy guy who had leadership and who knew what it took to win. And Mads is a guy who sacrifices. He works extremely hard every day. And like I said, he's well-rounded. He can help chip in offensively, but at the same time, he's your best penalty killer. So with that in mind and the way our team was built, it just seemed like an opportunity that we were hoping would come to fruition, and it ended up happening.
You mentioned the Oil Kings. Obviously, that was where you coached as well, and so Windsor's kind of becoming Edmonton East. I guess that's all part of networking in hockey. You've got connections all over, and you can use those to find players.
No, absolutely, and that's what's so important, because opportunities like this, where Mads was become available after playing in the East Coast Hockey League professionally for the start of the year, or the first half of the year, really, and a European spot came open on our team, and we also had a 20-year-old spot come open. So everything worked out really nicely, and when you have that connection out west and you can make some educated decisions even though we weren't able to see them, it really helps when you bring a player in like that you know what you're getting before it actually comes.
Mads, you got to play in the Western League and now in the Ontario League. I've asked Rocky about this. Do you see any subtle differences in the style of play in the two leagues?
I don't see a big difference. I would say it's maybe a little. It's somehow it feels maybe a step higher in some ways. I would say in this level of skill and the speed, I think it feels a tad bit higher here, even though it's hard to compare. It was, after all, more than a year ago I played there, so it's hard to remember exactly, but it feels a tad bit higher, just the overall level here.
Obviously, a big difference is the travel. I mean, of the 3 junior leagues, the Western League's the most grueling travel.
That is one thing. Yeah, I forgot about that. That's a huge thing in the Western League. It's very long traveling, and here it's a little bit easier.
Now, obviously, people are familiar with your brother, Lars. How much did him going into hockey help you, and how much of a hockey background is there in the family beyond you and your brother?
Well, both started off with our dad. He's a very, very big name in Denmark, been coaching for forever and playing in Danish hockey. And we have 2 half-brothers too who was playing hockey, and it kind of set the tone for the whole family. Lars started playing hockey, and then it was kind of obvious for me to take that step, playing hockey too. And growing up, I've been looking up to him my whole career, and every big decision I've made on and off the ice, he's been a huge mentor to me in my decisions doing on a daily basis, and hockey-wise too, and learned a lot from him.
We're seeing more from Denmark on the international stage. They gave Canada a pretty good game in the World Juniors this year. How is hockey growing in Denmark? Is it becoming a bigger sport, and when players like your brother and yourself and other Danish players start making it over here in North America, does that grow the sport back home?
Yeah, for sure. It's getting bigger and bigger. You can even see from last year when we played in the World Juniors, our game against Canada in the quarterfinal was the first ever nationally televised game in all of Denmark, and it was a game at 2 o'clock in the morning. After won the Memorial Cup with Edmonton too, there was lots of guys who wanted to come over, who signed up for the import draft, who wanted to come over and play in North America, and you just see it studying like from every year. It's just have a slight growth in popularity, and right now we're surpassing handball in the spectator, like with the most spectators from, we have soccer, and with the most spectators, and now hockey is surpassing handball, which was second before, so it's growing every year.
Rocky mentioned you played in the Memorial Cup. Obviously Windsor just made a bid. Now they're going to make a bid for the next Memorial Cup in Ontario. Talk about that Memorial Cup experience and what going through something like that, how it helps you as a player and helps you grow as a player.
Yeah, well, it was a very, very special year. We were underdogs throughout the whole year. Nobody really had us winning it, but it really helps you, going into on the big stage and going through all of that through a whole year where you're an underdog, you're not expecting to win, and to climb up like that, and just tough, playing against tough teams, and just really like shows what it takes to win, and help you in a lot of ways going forward.
Has Warren Reichel given you any grief over beating his son's team in the championship game?
Yeah, I hear about it every day.
We've talked about this before, Rocky, but the family aspect of hockey. I mean, you just look at your roster now. You've got Mads, whose brother Lars is playing in the NHL. You've got Logan Brown, whose dad Jeff played in the NHL. And you've got Brendan Lemieux, whose dad Claude played in the NHL. It just seems there's always been that factor in hockey, but it seems like today it's even greater. Any theories on why that is?
Well, without a doubt, there's a great advantage for children that are born into this sport because of the fathers, and I mean Kirby Reichel and Warren Reichel right there. Kirby's playing now for the Columbus Blue Jackets, and the dads know what it takes to get to that point. And if they're not too overbearing when they're younger, and there's a love that is for the game within those children as they get older, and the desire to want to be better, when it comes time to work and do the things, they're willing to listen to their fathers on what it takes to get there. And it's hard because you don't know what you don't know. If you don't grow up in that, it's not that it's impossible. The majority of people playing in the National Hockey League, they didn't have parents that played in there. But there's a great advantage to those children who do grow up in that atmosphere, because they know what it takes from hearing from their parents and seeing what it was, and they have those resources, and it's a great advantage without a doubt.
Every kid that goes to play junior hockey is leaving home, and it's a big life experience as much as it is a hockey experience. But in your case, you're not just leaving home, you're crossing an ocean to play junior hockey. What was that step like, and how much trepidation was there in your mind when you made it?
It wasn't that hard for me. In Denmark, already when I was 16, I moved to Sweden and lived completely on my own, which actually lived in this same apartment my brother used to live in Frölunda, in Swedish junior hockey. So all the way from I was 16, I've been living on my own, and then moving over here, it's not been very hard. It's something you have to sacrifice if you one day want to make it big and play in professionally and make it all the way. So I don't think it's been that hard for me.
How much has it helped to have a brother who already had done it and come to North America and kind of knew what to expect? How much of a sounding board was he for you when you made the move?
Well, I would say there's obviously there's both good and bad stuff to it, but it's helped me a lot with my decisions, and him going through all of this. Like it helps me a lot, giving me advice in a lot of situations, both on and off the ice. And then there's a lot of stuff being compared to him, which can be in a negative way kind of thing, because you want to make your name for yourself, and not being compared to other people in your family, but try and make your name for yourself.
All right, gentlemen, I want to thank you for joining me today. This has been Sitting with the Spitfires. I'm Bob Duff from the Windsor Star, and hope you enjoyed it.